The Lion King from 2019 follows Simba, a young lion prince, as he navigates the responsibilities of leadership, the consequences of loss, and the complexities of personal and relational growth within the Pride Lands. The narrative explores themes of identity, ethical responsibility, relational intelligence, resilience, courage, and the interplay between destiny and personal choice. Simba embodies adaptive problem-solving, relational insight, ethical discernment, and emotional growth, while supporting characters such as Nala, Mufasa, Timon, and Pumbaa provide relational guidance, moral counsel, and strategic support. The story demonstrates that effective agency, heroism, and personal development require integrating cognitive skill, ethical reflection, and relational competence in dynamic and morally complex environments. The plot intensifies when Simba's father, Mufasa, is killed in a treacherous plot orchestrated by his uncle Scar, forcing Simba into exile and compelling him to confront grief, guilt, and the ethical and relational consequences of leadership. This pivotal event creates both operational and moral stakes, challenging Simba to balance personal healing with relational responsibility, self-reflection, and strategic action to ultimately reclaim his rightful position as king. The narrative emphasizes that true heroism and personal growth emerge from integrating intellect, ethical discernment, and relational awareness while addressing both immediate threats and long-term societal responsibilities. Relational dynamics are central to character development and thematic resonance. Simba's interactions with Nala, Timon, Pumbaa, Rafiki, and his father's spirit highlight the importance of trust, mentorship, empathy, and collaboration in achieving ethical and operational objectives. These relationships provide both moral guidance and practical support, illustrating that relational intelligence is essential for effective leadership, ethical reasoning, and adaptive problem-solving. The narrative underscores that relational competence enhances moral clarity, strategic thinking, and resilience, demonstrating that heroism and personal growth are inseparable from the ability to maintain trust, cooperation, and emotional insight within complex social networks. Scar functions as the primary antagonist, representing unethical ambition, manipulation, and relational exploitation, generating both practical and moral threats. His actions highlight the dangers of power pursued without ethical reflection or relational awareness, creating high-stakes challenges that demand strategic thinking, moral discernment, and relational coordination. The contrast between Scar's self-serving approach and Simba's emerging ethical and relational maturity underscores that effective agency, heroism, and leadership require integrating cognitive skill, moral judgment, and interpersonal competence to confront both immediate and systemic threats. Action, strategic planning, and operational sequences, including battles, territorial disputes, and maneuvers to reclaim the Pride Lands, blend cognitive strategy, ethical reasoning, and relational coordination. Simba's evolving decision-making illustrates the integration of intellect, moral discernment, and relational competence, emphasizing that heroism and effective leadership are multidimensional processes. These sequences reinforce themes of courage, adaptive thinking, ethical responsibility, and relational awareness as essential elements of personal growth, operational effectiveness, and societal leadership. Psychological and ethical dimensions are explored through Simba's journey of self-discovery, his confrontation with guilt, fear, and moral responsibility, and his evolving understanding of leadership and relational duty. Mentors such as Mufasa's spirit and Rafiki guide him in ethical reflection, relational awareness, and strategic decision-making, while allies like Nala, Timon, and Pumbaa support his relational and operational growth. Scar's antagonism serves as a foil, illustrating the consequences of unethical ambition and relational manipulation. The narrative demonstrates that personal growth, ethical courage, and relational competence are inseparable from effective decision-making and responsible leadership. Themes of empowerment, ethical leadership, relational trust, personal growth, and resilience are central to the story. Simba's transformation from a guilt-ridden exile to a confident, ethically grounded, and relationally aware king exemplifies the transformative potential of integrating cognitive skill, moral reflection, and relational intelligence. Supporting characters reinforce the importance of collaboration, ethical guidance, and relational trust in achieving both personal and societal objectives. The narrative emphasizes that true heroism, leadership, and personal growth are defined not solely by skill or ambition, but by the ability to act ethically, maintain relational harmony, and navigate complex, dynamic environments with relational insight and moral clarity. The climax integrates cognitive, ethical, and relational threads as Simba confronts Scar, reclaims the Pride Lands, and restores ethical and relational equilibrium. Resolution requires strategic foresight, ethical discernment, relational coordination, and adaptive action, illustrating that multidimensional heroism emerges from harmonizing intellect, morality, and interpersonal competence. The narrative concludes with a synthesis of courage, relational awareness, ethical clarity, and personal growth, demonstrating that effective agency involves balancing individual mastery, moral responsibility, and relational engagement to achieve meaningful and enduring outcomes. Cinematography, visual design, and musical composition enhance narrative immersion, thematic resonance, and emotional impact. Realistic animation, expressive character modeling, and visually dynamic landscapes are rendered with clarity and aesthetic richness, while musical scoring accentuates relational, ethical, and emotional stakes. Technical execution supports thematic and narrative exploration, ensuring that visual and auditory spectacle complements cognitive, ethical, and relational dimensions rather than serving solely as entertainment. The integration of visual, auditory, and narrative elements underscores the multidimensional nature of heroism, ethical agency, and relational intelligence. Ultimately, The Lion King, 2019, presents a narrative in which cognitive skill, ethical reasoning, relational intelligence, and adaptive action converge within morally, operationally, and socially complex environments. The film emphasizes that mastery, heroism, and responsible leadership arise from integrating intellect, moral clarity, emotional insight, and relational competence. By blending action, ethical inquiry, psychological exploration, and relational complexity, The Lion King reinforces the appeal of protagonists who harmonize skill, morality, and relational awareness to navigate high-stakes, multifaceted, and morally nuanced scenarios, illustrating that true heroism requires the alignment of personal growth, ethical responsibility, and relational competence in transformative and socially complex contexts.